So yeah, welcome back, my road-stained philosophers, my campfire mathematicians, my barefoot cartographers of the forgotten lots. Hobo Yeti here, still vertical, still muttering at clouds, still navigating this weird limbo where people think I'm starring in some indie survival drama called Hobo Road, which, is funny because from my side, it's just me, a tent, and a lot of questionable life choices narrated out loud. Yet people write in like I'm the lead character on a streaming series, and like there's going to be a season 2 where I win immunity by cooking ramen in a thunderstorm. Some even call it a show, as if I've got a production team, a trailer, and a craft services table where I get to complain about line delivery and the lack of chilled cucumber water. So today, I want to talk about kindness and boundaries and why mixing the two without a recipe can create something just a little dangerous. People reach out. That's good. That's beautiful. It means the signal I'm sending out into the void is landing somewhere in the hearts of folks who care. But sometimes it gets a little off key. See, when you live your life out loud, people start to think they know you. And in a way, maybe they do. But there's a difference between being known and being safe. I've had people offer me food, rides, places to crash. I've had people comment that they're nearby, that I can stay on their floor, that they're just trying to help. And I appreciate the intention. But I also need to lay down a few truths. One, if you want to reach out, use email. Please don't reach out through YouTube comments with personal or logistical offers. I need time to breathe before I reply to anyone, and I can't do that in the noisy chaos of public comment threads. Email is the front door. Anything else is, well, trying to crawl through the window. Reach me at thehoboroad@gmail.com. If you're sincere, respectful, and just a little weird in a good way, we'll talk. 2, this isn't a show, it's my life. When someone calls this a show, I get that weird skin tingle like I've stepped onto a stage without knowing there was a stage. I'm not acting. I'm not producing episodes for applause or writing arcs for entertainment. This is my life, real, messy, at times poetic, at times just dirt and fatigue. There's no season finale, no cliffhanger, just a guy trying to keep his tarp from collapsing in a windstorm. So if you're watching because it resonates, welcome. But if you're watching because it entertains, maybe take a beat. This isn't fiction. This is endurance with commentary. 3, don't offer lifelines you can't hold. If you reach out to help, please, make sure your boots are laced tight. I've had people promise everything from monthly support to gear drops to rides to sanctuary, but promises can feel warm. And when they're broken, they leave a colder chill than silence ever could. Sometimes people want to be the hero in someone else's story. I get it. We all want to matter, but don't write a chapter in my life and then vanish before the paragraph ends. Don't say, I've got you, and then forget I exist. It doesn't just waste my time, it bruises something deep, something that's already been bruised a lot. 4, about those offers to meet or host, please understand my caution. I've had people offer their floor, their guest room, their property, and while that's generous, and I do believe some of you are sincere, I have to approach that with a lot of caution. Not because I think you're up to something, but because I don't know you. I've stayed with people who turned out to be volatile. I've been hosted by folks who expected more than I could give. I've had scammers, missionaries, and folks with hidden agendas. So I've learned to treat real-world offers with the same care I'd give a raw wound, gently, slowly, with distance until it heals. This isn't a judgment. It's not rejection. It's just the reality of living without walls. You learn to build your boundaries from inside. If we're meant to meet, we'll get there. But I can't skip steps. Email first, conversation next. Maybe video chat, then maybe we meet in person. Maybe. 5, the benefactor mirage. There's a special kind of kindness that isn't kindness at all. It's theater. It's projection. It's an illusion called the benefactor mirage. These are the folks who roll in with grand declarations. They say they've got land you can live on someday. They say they're putting you in their will. They say when their aunt dies or the divorce settles or the crypto rebounds, they're going to leave you 10 grand and a camper van and a dog named Liberty. And then there are the ones who tell you, softly, intimately, often too early, that they're dying, that they've got cancer or a terminal condition, or 6 months to live and nothing to spend it on but legacy. They say they saw your videos and they cried, that you reminded them of something they lost or someone they loved or the road they never took, and they want to help before they go. And that kind of thing. It short circuits your defenses because now you're not dealing with some overly enthusiastic stranger. You're dealing with a dying human being. Your brain goes quiet. Your heart steps forward. You tell yourself, don't be cynical. Don't question this. Don't hurt someone who's already hurting. So you give them the benefit of the doubt. You let them speak. You hold space. You say thank you, cautiously but sincerely, and then they vanish, or they string it out, or the story changes, or they weren't dying at all and they were just lonely or dramatic, or chasing a story where they were the kind benefactor and you were the grateful stray, and you're left holding emotional debris. You didn't ask for this promise, you didn't write this chapter, but you still feel the echo when it closes with silence. And so I've learned to recognize the mirage by the speed and size of the promise and by how quickly it demands your hope. If someone comes in talking about inheritance before they've even asked if I'm allergic to peanuts, I take a step back. If someone's solution to homelessness is a mansion next year, I nod politely and press the brakes. If you want to help, help small. Help now. Help consistently. Buy someone a tarp. Send $20 for socks. Check in once a month to say, still rooting for you. That's real. That's sustainable. That doesn't disappear when the spotlight dims. 6. The path, if you're serious. Email, Marco Polo, maybe meeting. If we're clicking an email, and I mean really clicking like human to human, not marketing bot to open wound, then maybe we graduate to Marco Polo. That's a video app. It lets us talk asynchronously. No pressure, no real-time awkwardness, just people talking. If that goes well, maybe depending on how I feel, where I'm at, and how strong the vibe is, we can talk about meeting. Maybe. But this ain't speed dating. This is cautious, deliberate, trauma-informed connection building. If that sounds slow, well, yeah. I'm not building a fan base. I'm curating safety. So if you've ever wanted to reach out, this is me. Saying yes, I'm open, but I'm also careful. Not bitter, just bruised. Not closed off, just calibrated. I've been hurt by people who meant well, and I've been helped by people who said almost nothing, but showed up when it mattered. Your kindness matters. Your sincerity matters more. And if all you ever do is watch and nod quietly while sipping your tea, that's enough too, truly. But if you want to go deeper, follow the steps. Don't rush the bridge. Don't paint over your intentions. Be honest, be human, be kind, and please let that kindness come with boundaries too. I'm not a project, I'm a person. I hope your road is a good one. And if you're homeless, I hope it doesn't suck for you. Peace.